let me say to you, I cannot wait to see you. You are the treasure I've been waiting for. Do you know how much I really need you? I dey pray for the day when I can finally kiss you. You know, say every day I dey pray for you. Oh, in my heart today's a permanent place for you. That's why my heart it dey beat like do bang, do bang. Cause now you I choose, so I am fair, me I know fair. I sing for you.
Hello and welcome to The Nest. My name is Maureen Waititu and I will be your host. In this show, we'll be discussing matters parenthood, be it motherhood or fatherhood, all the way from antenatal, birth and postnatal care, and everything that comes in between. These are matters that are not often discussed openly, especially when it comes to young parents, both boys and girls, because hey, it takes two to make a child. And this program again is supposed to enable and empower everyone through knowledge and also create a platform to discuss various matters, but mostly it's all about parenting, because from parenting is what makes the generations to come. I hope you will enjoy it and welcome. Should you have any questions, we are open to that, and should you have anything to talk about, we'll be happy to accommodate you. And today's topic is quite amazing, quite relatable, because it's something all of us have come across, and that is young motherhood. We must know a young mother somewhere. Maybe we are the young mother or a young mother to be. And I think you should stick around because we have an amazing guest who happened to be a young mother, and she overcame all the challenges that come with young motherhood, and her story is very, very inspiring. But before we go on, let's watch a short video about young motherhood.
Being a mother is the most beautiful feeling in the world. The thought of having brought a new life into the world is a near magical experience. This either comes with full responsibility and selflessness. So being a young mother can be quite challenging, especially if it was an unplanned pregnancy. Statistics show that teen pregnancy and motherhood rates in Kenya stand at 18%. About 1 in every 5 adolescent girls has either had a live birth or is pregnant with her first child. Young mothers face a number of challenges, among them being dealing with stigma and in some situations being disowned by their own families, inability to making decisions and planning efficiently, having competing priorities on their time, lack of enough finances, and most of them end up raising their children by themselves, as the baby's fathers are usually young and not prepared as well.
And today I have an amazing guest who also happens to be a young mom and a founder of an amazing organization called Young Mothers Africa, which has been running for the last 7 years, and she's been making changes across the society. If you don't know her, today is the opportunity and the chance to know who she is, and I'm going to introduce Waititu to the program today as she tells us more about her beautiful story and how her circumstances have changed, and she has actually embraced her young motherhood and made a change to the other mothers to come.
Waititu is the founder and CEO of Young Mothers Africa. She is a young mother and a family planning advocate. Anne was a nominee for 120 Under 40, a flagship that recognizes the next generation of leaders making a difference in productive health worldwide.
thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So I know I have given your credentials, but maybe you can tell us more about yourself.
So I'm Waititu, the founder of Young Mothers Africa. We started back in 2014, so we are 7 years now.
Yes.
So what we do is we create awareness on issues surrounding teenage pregnancy, how to curb it, and life after the fact.
Life after the fact.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Mathare,
Okay.
but later on in my high school, we moved on to Isili. So that's where I'm based, actually. That's
Okay.
where I operate from.
I see.
I operate from a clinic. I'm also a community health volunteer. I'm also an actress.
Wow.
So that's actually how Young Mothers came to be.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Could you introduce us to how you became a young mom? What was running through your mind and the steps you've made to get to where you are today?
So I got pregnant at the age of 19, immediately after finishing my high school. So like any other young girl, you
Yes.
have dreams and ambition to go to the uni and all that.
Yes.
So when I found out that I was pregnant, it was really hard to tell my parents, especially my dad.
Of course.
And my mom, of course.
Yes.
But now, with time, my elder sister helped me with that because it was really hard to tell them.
Oh my.
But the father of the baby accepted me and the child.
Okay.
So, but after 1 year, 1 month, he passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you. So he passed away, and then that's where it's all began. Because
Okay.
I was now 20 to 21 years old,
Yes.
not sure what I'm supposed to do, where I'm supposed to turn to, and all that. So through that, I started trying to find a way back, and I ended up in my acting career, which I used to do back in the high school drama. So I got a role of a young girl called Shiro. Shiro was a 16-year-old girl who lives in the slum and already had a kid.
Oh, wow.
So that character really
Yes.
matched with my real life.
Absolutely.
So that's how Young Mothers came to be, because I realized it's something that is within us in the slums most of the time. So I thought this is something that I might take up as a maybe something that I can do on the side, but I ended up doing it like a full-time thing.
At 19, you are a mom, and then after a year, a month, you lose the father of your child. And tell us, I'm sure a lot of young moms are always having either one or the other challenge. Could be rejection for the parents. For you, you actually got accepted by your then boyfriend, and then he passes away. What is going through your mind? What was the state of your mind at that point? What were you thinking? Is this over for me, or I'm getting up and moving on with it?
It took me like 2 years to even accept that he's dead.
Wow.
I used to live in denial, and then my mom used to talk to me a lot because she's an orphan. She told me, look at me, I've raised you and you're doing well. So if you live in this state, you'll be like the saddest person ever. You have to accept slowly. You cannot do anything to change whatever happened. So it took me quite a long time, because I had not done anything that I can just go out and look for a job to do. It was really hard. So I wasn't even able to sustain myself and the baby. I had to go back home. And within that period of time, I realized that I'm actually wasting myself. So what I did was I bumped into somebody who is now my mentor. And he's the one who told me about it. He told me, like, you can clear everything and probably sober up and take everything, dust yourself up and go ahead, because you have a baby that is looking up to you, and he's not getting any younger. He's actually growing.
Baby boy.
If you actually, you have to accept whatever has happened and ask God for guidance.
Absolutely. God is everything.
Yeah. So within that period of time, I went to do auditions. I was working in the CBD, earning 200 shillings per day.
Oh.
I know.
Look
The
at
hustle.
that
Yeah,
determination.
I actually tried to reach out and probably put a plate for my baby.
Of course.
So that, when you're in the slums, you have two options. It's either you go to the verses, or you enter into things that are not. You can go into prostitution, probably drugs and all that.
True. That's such an inspirational, journey for you, and because again, like I said, it's about mothers. So how did it come about for you to actually create Young Mothers Africa?
So what I did is I went to our local clinic. It's initially called Biafra Clinic. It's
Biafra.
under the government, yeah.
Yes.
So I went there to ask for contraceptives and family planning. That was even asking for free condoms if there were any.
Right.
So, but the nurse I found there was quite friendly. She is a youth-friendly nurse.
Right.
And then she took me in and guided me on the steps and why I wanted to use contraceptives, which type, and I told her that I was a young mom and all that. She explained everything. So when I was there, I realized there were a few young mothers in the row also waiting to be attended to. And then I asked if there was anyone who's a young person that is catering to them, and there was none. So that's how I asked if I could be a volunteer just to be able to talk to the girls, probably attend to them. Because the nurses, some of the nurses can be really harsh.
I was going to ask, because
Yeah, some of the nurses can be quite
absolutely
something.
harsh, especially
yeah.
to
the young girls, yeah.
coming to ask for guidance. How did it come about now for you to take this thing and make it your own, Young Mothers Africa?
I think it was what surrounded me, because in every 5 girls, 2 of them already pregnant, already has a kid before the age of 18. That was me and my friend.
Right. So your friend was pregnant
Yeah,
at the same
she
time.
sat for exam while pregnant, but she's an awesome lady right now.
That's amazing.
So, because the surrounding was almost pretty much the same thing.
Right.
So that's why I actually thought this is something that we really needed to take care of, because there are girls that are coming up. And if we set such example, they'll know it's very normal to get pregnant at 18, 15, 16.
True.
So we started creating awareness and having groups with different girls who came into the facility. So we had different sessions for teenage girls and also for the young mothers. And there was one particular girl who was 16. She had run away from home, and then she ended up getting married to an elderly person who used to mistreat her really much. So we talked. She came to the facility for the antenatal care, and she was really afraid to talk to anybody. And the mothers who were around her used to question her and judge a lot, like, msichana mdogo anafanya nini hapa? Why is she even here in the first place? Mbona ulipata mimba? You see, the stigma already. So through that girl, she was our first actually young mothers on board. And we worked with her through the journey, and we ended up returning her back home to the mother so that she can continue with her studies. And then the elderly person, the man who had married her, alitukasirikia, of course, but the girl went back to school.
That's amazing. And I know your organization is more about giving hope after the fact. So from your perspective, what would you tell everyone in the society? I'm talking of parents, other women judging these young girls, nurses, the government, and all that.
The parents, the teachers, none of them talk about it like in a keen way.
Very true.
So these young girls or the young boys, they get the information from the social media, from the internet, where they actually get the wrong information. That's why they get to practice what they see on the internet.
True. Yes.
So first of all, the parent, if they get to talk to their kids well, guide them through the stages, because you all know it's a stage. Everyone passed through that. Guide them through that. It will be much easier because the numbers will go down.
Of course.
So, and then the another thing is the government can actually try and implement the free sanitary child thing on a proper way, because the girl, most of them, if you don't have a sanitary towel and your medicines are here and you cannot even ask for your mom, actually if your mom only has 100 shilling, na hiyo ndo ya food, hiyo ndo ya nini, haiwezi kubuy pad na you see. So what she'll do, atatafuta chali, and then the guy will definitely buy the sanitary towel.
Of course.
But in exchange, he'll want something else.
Man, great points right there. I mean, I obviously got my children when I was well into my 20s, but at the same time, hearing from a young mom who was there, did it, and unfortunately lost the one great support that there was. I'm so encouraged personally, and I hope that people at home are encouraged by Anne's story and all the things that she's doing for the society. Wow, great points right there from Anne Mitu about motherhood and young motherhood in that case, and teenage pregnancies. And as she says, sex is not an emergency. Remember, you girl, you'll be left there with that pregnancy, and the young man will bounce and maybe make a better life for himself. These things do happen, so it's not about discouraging, it's more of instilling information, because some things are just there. It's the elephant in the room. What do we do? So we're going to go on a break, and when we come back, we'll have our expert of the day, Dr. Wasike, who will tell us more about these matters of motherhood, since he's been, around the corner in this area of gynecological matters. See you after the break.